environment, that the cultural behavior of that, I'm not talking about the values, I'm talking about the form, that becomes the ideal for them to pursue. So maybe you can shed some light on that.
I don't think that there is disagreement, but it's a question probably of emphasis. To begin with, about fundamentalism being a term that is not coined by us, there are many terms that we use which were not coined by us. Democracy, state. I mean, why did we keep the nation state? It's a European concept. It's a European term. It's a European content. So I don't think that it's helpful to say this is not ours and this is ours, because we know that we cannot keep that game up for long. We will run into difficulties, and what is the point of making an issue of this? I did say in my original remarks that human beings appropriate terms and give them their own meaning. I said that. So did I say that or not? So fundamentalism is the term that was coined for Western United States Christianity at the beginning of the 20th century. It came to be applied to Muslim revival and activism, and it has a negative connotations. I said that, but I said that we also appropriate terms and give them our meaning. So I would not stop with, I don't reject this, I don't accept this term and that term. The question is, what do I do with it? And therefore, a return to fundamentalism is useful depending on what you mean by it. I said the difficulty with the term is that it does not tell us the content of that commitment. And that is what should be the focus of our conversation. And I think in terms of the second part of your comment, I think I don't see any difficulty with it. The question is, I think we really need to move on with trying to engage issues and to have our own perspective, yes, but to realize that there are other perspectives that we also have to find ways of accommodating and taking seriously so that we can continue to collaborate in this venture.
Thank you. In reference to our question from our friend from USM, if I am not mistaken, what I can understand from his remark is that the issue of the question of form and substance, the question of form and substance, which has been also a kind of discourses in our country for the last 20 years after the rising tide of Islam. I want to give you an example, and once again I refer this to a great sheikh, a very learned scholar from Sudan by the name of Ja'far Sheikh Idris, whom Ustaz also knows him, a very learned scholar of Islam. When he came to Philadelphia, the place I studied with the late Ismail Raja Al-Faruqi, we had a dinner and discourse in his house, Allah yarhamu. So we talk about Islam and modernity, Islam and modernism. I still remember, I hope this is not just to create a joke, but rather than to honor also the man. He quoted the answer of a great learner of Islam, a very learned of Islam from Saudi Arabia, but he is a blind man. So the Sheikh from Sudan, Ja'far Sheikh Idris, asked the Sheikh from Saudi Arabia, is it advisable for us to use ultra-modern weapons? Or even the least modern weapons, not the ultra ones. So the reply was, you have to follow the Sunnah of Rasul to use sword and arrow. Alaika an tarkab al-khayl wal-jimal. You have to ride the horse and the jimal, what it is called? Donkey. Not the donkey. The camel. Yeah. This is sunnah for you in this time. So the Sheikh quiet and surprised to hear that kind of remark from that great learned scholar of Islam from Saudi Arabia, but he can forgive him because he is a blind man. Perhaps he doesn't know the development in the world today. So this is the question of realities which inflict to any individual. It might happen. So like in our country also, we need also to understand what is universality of Islam, what is particularity of Islam. In the context of Malay world, Alhamdulillah, I think Malaysia, we have that kind of understanding and practices. So no problem for us as long as we honor the principle of Islam in terms of Tawheed and Sharia, but we develop also our uruf, our culture, local customary, which is allowed in Islam. So the question, but there are of course, there is of course people who are questioning the legitimacy of Islam when you do not wear the proper dress according to the Islamic Sharia. As long as we cover our aura, yet we passion it to the local design, this is one of the examples that Islam allows. There is no harm of that between the form and also the substance. Thank you very much.
Okay, one last questions from the floor, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You don't mind I be seated. My name is Zahri. I'm a pensioner. And when Professor Naim, started his presentation, I tried to understand, and thought that whatever he was trying to deliver sounds a bit not that optimistic, like a burden being imposed on Muslim. And immediately when Brother Dr. Muhammad Noor Manuty able to moderate the discussion, it sounds more optimistic now that Muslim can deliver and lead, in this case, lead the world. We are not going to do it in vacuum. We know after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the Khilafah, we were virtually, actually we were colonized in pieces. Then finally the Khilafah collapsed. Then immediately after that, you see the development of the global governance, administration, the United Nations. You see that they also play important role to ensure, to subdue all efforts to rebuild the Muslim nation. Well, there are positive and negative aspects, but Muslims, definitely after the First World War, the Second World War, suffered severely. There are disunity and infighting. It's all politically motivated. And it's still happening, and it will go on happening for some time. You see the war in Islamic countries, after the so-called, spring? The Arab Spring. We thought that we were going to come up with a better option, looking after our own self. But Muslim world was never left alone. Now we can see that you got to really play, cat and mouse, with the United Nations and with their Security Council, their veto powers, and so on and so forth. That make us look so timid and we can't do much. But still, I think Muslims have strong and good references in terms of governance. I think the Muslim, whether the Western world accept it or not, the source of renaissance of Europe was Islam. So we still feel that we have something to lean back to. Islam, with the Khilafah, the experience of Khilafah, and sincere Muslims who have left behind good books and writings, I think we have guides. We can have good guidance and we can still move forward. So I'm very happy to have appeared in this discourse on Islamic fundamentalism and social change. I think we hope our generation, youth, will be guided and can see that there is a future, for Muslims and the world. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, do accept our humble apologies because we have a constraint of time and our distinguished speakers is rushing to the airport, and we are coming back to our distinguished speakers for the answer of the question.
I took it to be a comment, not a question.
Oh, there, all right, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, that's the end of our Q&A session, and we thank you for your participation, and we do hope that this program will truly inspire all of you, inshallah, and always pray for hidayah and knowledge from Allah. And may Allah grant us all hidayah, and we ask Allah to increase us in our knowledge and guide us into the straight path. And as a token of appreciation to our distinguished speakers, and it is a great honor to invite the Honorable Datuk Mansor Haji Osman, the Chairman of Penang Islamic Foundation, to present the souvenirs to our distinguished speakers. Silakan, Yang Berhormat Datuk. Souvenirs presentation to Prof. Abdullah E. Ahmad An-Naim from Emory University, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Again, a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Abdullah E. Ahmad An-Naim. Thank you, Prof. And next, to the Honorable Dr. Muhammad Nur Manuty, the former President of ABIM. Let's give our Dr. Muhammad Nur Manuty a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And a big round of applause to our host, Penang Islamic Foundation and Islamic Renaissance Front. And I would like to capture this great moment together. We'd like to invite our distinguished guests to be on stage. Honorable Dato' Aliza and Dato' Mustafa Kamal to be on stage for a photo session. And once again, on behalf of our host, Penang Islamic Foundation and Islamic Renaissance Front, we'd like to extend our gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to our guests of honor, Yang Berhormat Dato', our distinguished speakers, and to all of our guests who had taken your precious time. And I would like to take this great opportunity to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters happy Ramadan al-Mubarak. May Allah shower us with lots of blessing on the holy month of Ramadan. With this, I would like to conclude our program by cordially invite all our guests for refreshment at the foyer. And again, thank you. Ma'as-salama ila liqa wa billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.